Load your guns, dodge that wrecking ball, and pop some champagne corks. We're going back to Bachman. Here's 19 Reasons to Read Roadwork. Hi everyone, I'm Dave Musson at Dave Musson on Instagram, and welcome back to my series walking you through the works of Stephen King in chronological order. We look at each book and I give you 19 reasons to read each one. If that sounds like something you're interested in seeing more of, do hit subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future. Now, for this one, we're going to 1981, where King was operating under the guise of his dark half, Richard Bachman, and the third novel he released under that name, Roadwork. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be tough to find 19 reasons to actually read this pile of crap, but let's give it a go, shall we? And as always, some potential spoilers ahead. Okay, so the hook of this one is actually pretty strong. We've got one lone ranger grieving for the death of his son and the breakup of his marriage, all while trying to stop his house from being demolished by the man. As he gets more desperate, he gets more dangerous. Not bad. And it doesn't end there. Roadwork features mobsters, guns, explosions, sex, which we'll pop back to later, and plenty more besides. So far, so good, right? Oh, and it's also kind of short, like compared to some of his other works at least. That's good, isn't it? We've got to reason number 3, and I'm already dragging out the fact that it's not as long as his other books. This is where it starts to get tough. So if you hadn't worked it out already, this book, which sits in the middle of the Bachman books in my edition, is bad. King himself even supposes in the intro to this book that Roadwork is possibly the worst of the Bachman books. But there's always something interesting about geniuses in their field putting out a dud, isn't there? So, for that reason alone, it's kind of worth a look. Now, I said King puts it as the worst of the Bachman books, but according to Wikipedia, in a revised second edition of the Bachman books, he appeared to change his mind and tried to claim that he actually thought Roadwork was the best of the Bachman books. Come off it, Stevie. You are fooling no one. Let's dig into the story itself. Our main character is one Barton George Dawes. He's like Marmite. You'll either fucking hate him or you're wrong. Now, I'll freely admit that part of my disliking of this book could well be because I simply wasn't around to experience the politics of the time in which the story was set. Although it was released in 1981, it was set between 1973 and 1974. And on the front cover of the first edition, it claimed this book to be the first novel of the last energy crisis. I literally have no idea what that energy crisis was. That could be a good reason to read this book. Let's take it as one, shall we? Now, there is some heart and soul to this story. We learn over the course of the book that the main reason Barton doesn't want his house to go is because he's grieving for the loss of his son who died of a brain tumour a few years earlier, and he sees letting go of the house as finally letting go of him. When that moment drops, you do see him in a slightly different light, until he deliberately sabotages his own job so he gets fired, and effectively forces his wife to leave him by simply doing nothing about finding a new place to live. What a twat. Later, we meet Salvatore Sal Magliore, King's first attempt at writing a mobster. How does it go? Let's just say Fat Tony from The Simpsons is much more convincing. That being said, Barton meeting Sal does result in Molotov cocktails and a load of shitting explosions, which are kind of fun. Okay, I can't hold it off anymore. We've got to talk about the sex. So there's a point where Barton picks up a young hitchhiker called Olivia Brenner, and he offers her the chance to stay at his house for a night. And while they go on about how they're definitely not going to do it, they end up fucking. Now, that's not unusual, despite how kinky and amazing the sex appears to be. No, the noteworthy part, and probably the biggest reason alone, a complete standalone reason for you to read this book, is the part where Barton's cock slips out of Olivia's vagina with the of a champagne cork. Seriously. And the next morning, Olivia makes great efforts to compliment Barton on his sexual prowess, explicitly pointing out that he was very good in bed and made her orgasm, which doesn't normally happen for her. So, you know, just another completely realistic representation of a female Stephen King character having a normal conversation then. Good. 4 more reasons? Wow, okay. I mean, the standoff at the end with the guns and the explosions is pretty good. So finally, an interesting idea for you. Although this book is not officially connected to the Dark Tower, there are some who think that the character Phil Drake could be Father Callahan. He's a fallen priest who helps the homeless and has left the Mother Church. He will not allow himself to be called a father, and he has an oddly scarred right hand. Now, King has never really commented on this, but it's an interesting one. Maybe let me know what you think in the comments. There you go, 19 reasons, sort of, to read Roadwork. Basically, come for the champagne popping and stick around for the explosions. Thanks as ever for watching. Don't forget to hit me up on Instagram where I'm at Dave Musson. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you do come over on Instagram, maybe join me for one of my quizzes on a Sunday. We do them most weekends. And I'll keep plugging them even if you hate them. My band, Chapter 19, provides the soundtrack that has been sitting behind this video, and that song is our song Stephen. It's about Stephen King. You can find a link to it in the description below. You'll also find a link to the video where we managed to cram visual references to more than 60 different Stephen King works. Why not go and watch that video with the sound off if you want to, and let me know how many you spot. Thanks, see you soon, and